Very good morning to one and all. Welcome to economic class. Today is 19 Feb 2021. So in this revision series we are going to see the upcoming point from the economics chapters. Next, in economics already we had completed the chapter number 1, chapter number 2. Now we are on the chapter number 3. Today on 19th Feb we are going to see the revision points in the form of notes of chapter number 3 from economics. That's a poverty as a challenge. The question arises here, why poverty is called as a challenge. In our regular video we had seen this point. Please make a note of it. You should be able to know the answer of this question, why poverty is called as a challenge. Introduction of the poverty in a detailed way this slide is representing to you. The poverty is the state or the condition in which a person or a community lack the financial resources and essential to enjoy a minimum standard of life and well-being that considered acceptable in the society. Indicators of poverty nowadays, they are the poverty is looked throughout other indicators like literacy rate, lack of access to the health care, lack of job opportunities, lack of access of safe drinking water, social exclusion, sanitation, and all these could be termed as indicators of poverty. Next, moving further to see what are the different points we are going to study in this revision notes. So here, first poverty, we are going to see what is the meaning of poverty. After that, poverty as seen by the social scientists, poverty line, estimation of poverty, vulnerability, vulnerable groups, interstate disparity, global scenario, causes of poverty, last 2 points, that's anti-poverty measures and targeted anti-poverty programs. This chapter already we had revised 2 or 3 times. Now we are on the note series, so please make a note of it. The notes are very important to prepare any chapter. First, poverty. So what is poverty? Poverty is a situation in that a person is unable to fulfill the basic needs of life, just like the food, shelter and clothing. But here the point is different. The poverty, when a person is unable to fulfill the basic needs of the life, just like food, clothing and shelter. You can write any answer to this. What is poverty? It is clear to everyone now. Now poverty as a seen by the social science. Now poverty as a look through that the social indicators like illiteracy level, lack of general resistance due to the malnutrition, lack of access to health care, lack of job opportunity, lack of access to the safe drinking water and sanitation. Analysis of poverty based on social exclusion and vulnerability is now becoming a very common. Next, what is poverty line? A common method used to measure the poverty is based on the income and consumption level. Right? So, a person is considered poor if he or she, that means his or her income or consumption level is moving under the particular minimum level necessary to fulfill the basic needs. So, that falls below a minimum level. So, what is that? We are going to see that. Determination of poverty line. How the poverty line is determined. So while determining the poverty line in India, a minimum level of food requirement, clothing, footwear, fuel, light, educational, medical requirement are determined for subsistence. These physical quantities are multiplied by their price in rupees. Then the poverty line is the base on the desired calorie requirement. Food like cereals, pulses, milk, vegetable, etc. together provide this calorie. So these calories are calculated and converted in the rupees and added to the value of other needs like clothing, footwear and fuel, etc. So what is that? Let's check out. The accepted average calorie requirement in India is, in rural area it requires 2400 calorie per person per day, and in urban area 2100 calorie per person per day. And the reason why the calorie requirement in the rural area is more than the work of the people doing in urban area is that they do more physical work as compared to the people in urban area. So urban areas peoples are living little bit luxurious life, and the rural area people, they are doing little bit hard jobs, that the physical work is more. Thus the calorie requirement is lower than in urban areas compared to the rural area, and the amount fixed as the poverty line for urban area is higher because the cost of essential goods is higher in urban area. Poverty line is updated periodically, normally every 5 years, by conducting sample surveying carried out by the National Sample Survey Organization. So here the 1 marks MCQ can be asked to you, just like the National Sample Survey Organization, NSSO, that is conducting the sample survey which is carried out by this organization. Next, how the poverty estimates. So there is a substantial decline in the poverty rate in India from about 55% in 1973 to 36% in 1993. The proportion of the people below poverty line further came down to about 26% in 2000. So here you can see about how the poverty estimation is going on and how the poverty rate is decreasing. Vulnerability. So vulnerability to poverty is a measure which describes the greater probability of certain communities of becoming or remaining poor in the coming years. What is that? Let's check out. So vulnerable groups, the people. The poverty line is not the same for all social groups. Just like the economic category in India, okay, so social groups which are most vulnerable to the poverty are scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Household. So here we are talking about the scheduled caste group and the scheduled tribes group. They are the most vulnerable among the economic group. The most vulnerable groups are the rural agricultural labor household and the urban casual labor household. Okay, few words are joined together. Don't worry about that because the slide was representing like that only. Don't worry about that. Next point, we are going to see the average percentage of the people below poverty line. In all groups, in is 26. 51 out of 100 people belonging to the STs are not able to meet their basic needs. Similarly, the 50% of the casual labor, as you are seeing, the workers in urban areas are below poverty line. About 50% of the landless agriculture workers and 43% of the scheduled caste are also poor. Apart from their social group, women, elderly people and female infant are systematically denied equal access to the resource available to the family. This group is called as the poorest of the poor. Next, interstate disparities. The proportion of the poor is not the same in every state. State level poverty has declined, but the success rate of reducing poverty varies from state to state. In 20 states and union territory, the poverty ratio is less than the national average. Poverty is still a serious problem in Orissa, Bihar, Assam, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh. So in that, Orissa and Bihar continue to be the two poorest states with the poverty ratio of 47 and 43% respectively. Urban poverty is also high in Orissa, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. There has been a significant decline in poverty in Kerala, Jammu and Kashmir, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and West Bengal. The states like Punjab and Haryana have traditionally succeeded in reducing poverty with the help of the high agriculture growth rate. Okay, next we are going to see about the global scenario. In that already I discussed all these points very deeply in my regularly class. These are only the fact and figures given here. You please check out. Please go through this slide. That means the global poverty has declined, but it is marked with the regional differences. The differences has been shown here. Next, again please see, it's a global poverty scenario. Next, moving further, these all points you can write in your notebook. You have to remember few facts and figures. If this question is going to be, I describe the global poverty scenario in that time you have to write all these points. Next, the causes of poverty. So this slide is representing the 4 causes of poverty. First one, the historical reason in the low level of economic development. So what was that historically? The British colonial administration. The policies of the colonial government ruined traditionally handicraft and discouraged development of the industries like textiles. Next, we are seeing the another point. The another point is that the policies of the colonial government makes our traditional handicraft and discourage development of the industries like textile. The low rate of growth, right, leading to the less job and the low income. The high growth rate of the population and less availability of job lead to unemployment, leading to poverty. So these are the causes of poverty. Please go through it and write all these points in the notebook. Next, the another point which lead to the causes of poverty, that the lack of land resources has been one of the major cause of the poverty in India. To fulfill the social obligation and observe religious ceremony, people in India, they are taking the loans from the money lender and landlord, and they used to fall into the debit trap, leading to the extreme poverty because they are not able to repay that particular loan. And finally, they are losing their land, house and everything, and they are becoming poor. The small farmer need money to buy agriculture inputs like seed, fertilizer, pesticide and etc. Since they hardly have any saving, they have to take the loans from the people, and after that they are unable to repay it, and they will become poor by fall into the debit trap. Next point, anti-poverty measures. The anti-poverty measures here is speaking. Please see the slides. The slide is speaking to you the following point. Anti-poverty measures. The current anti-poverty strategies of the government is based broadly on 2 plans: promotion of economic growth, targeted anti-poverty programs. The next, economic growth has increased and helped significantly in the reduction of poverty. Next point, this economic growth. We are going to see the economic growth rate has increased. Please see the slide. Hello. Sir, class की बात कर रहा हूँ, सिर्फ 5 मिनट बात कर रहा हूँ. हाँ, वीडियो बना रहा हूँ सर, कट हो जाएगा. ओके ओके. Next, the current anti-poverty strategies of the government, as we are seeing here. So, they are the promotion of economic growth, targeted anti-poverty programs. So, in that, economic growth has increased and helped significantly, but is not enough and is comparatively a slow process. Growth in the agriculture sector is much below expectation, and a large number of our people are dependent on agriculture. Next, anti-poverty programs, that are the targeted anti-poverty programs. I'm not going to move into the detailed one because already I explained you very nicely all these points. So first point is here. That's the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. That is the act which provides 100 days assured employment, 200 districts. After that it was extended to 600 districts. 1/3 of the proposed job were reserved for the women. The central government will also establish the National Employment Guarantee Funds. Plus in that they will get unemployment allowance also if they will not get a job within the 15 days. So this type of all scheme you can see it here, right? National Food for Work program. If it is not given in your textbook, don't worry, just for your information, just remember this point. Next, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Yojana or Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, PMRY, starting year and its concluding points which are important, you have to write in your notebook. Then next, SGSY, that the Swarna Jayanti Gram Swaraj Yojana, 1999. Then Pradhan Mantri Gram Uday Yojana, which I was talking about earlier, 2000. Then AAY. The chapter Food Security in India also, the AAY is given into deeply in the additional box, brownish box. If you are having the textbook, you can go through that. What is AAY? That's Antyodaya Anna Yojana. Next, the challenges ahead. So these are the few challenges which are still there for declining the poverty, and they are the obstacle. The poverty has declined in India but not up to the desirable level or desired level. The poverty reduction remains India's most important challenge. The certain social and economic groups are still vulnerable to the poverty. Next, the official definition of the poverty is about the minimum sustainable level of living rather than a reasonable level of living. Many scholars advocate that we must broaden the concept into human poverty. The human poverty not only considered lack of money but also absence of education, health care, or a shelter, or a freedom, or a caste, gender and discrimination. Lastly, is this revision series is over for this chapter. I request you all, please watch all the videos and do the revision part very seriously. This chapter, poverty as a challenge. Why poverty is called as a challenge? You have to write the answer. If you still face any doubt and difficulty, Please let me know that at your home. Please be safe and secure and do your homework part very sincerely. Thanking to each and everyone. Jai Hind to one and all.